On set, the air was thick with light coming through the misty windows. Everyone held their breath, waiting for the final scene, a farewell scene in the sunset, where the two characters had to kiss one last time before going their separate ways. Caitriona sat still in the makeup chair, her eyes glued to the mirror reflecting her face, calm, but the corners of her lips trembled slightly. The makeup artist said softly, "This scene must be easy for you. You two have done hundreds of kissing scenes." She just smiled, not answering. Easy? This scene was different, because this was the last time. Because after this project, Sam would fly to New York to film another movie, and she, probably wouldn't come back. Back on set, Sam was talking to the director, her calm demeanor, her bright blue eyes, her face still making her breathless. As if nothing had changed, even though there was a sea of silence between them that had lasted for more than a year. "Ready?" the director shouted. Sam turned to her, nodded slightly, a polite smile that was strangely familiar. The camera started rolling. In the bright light, they walked towards each other. The script said. He put his hand on her shoulder, said goodbye, then kissed her slowly before turning away. But when Sam took her shoulder, time seemed to stop. The touch was not that of an actor to a co-star, but that of someone who knew every breath, every heartbeat. She felt a warmth so real it almost hurt. "I won't come back, you know," Sam said, her voice trembling slightly. Caitriona looked up. His eyes, not the character's eyes. Sam's eyes. She opened her mouth, the lines slipping from her memory. "I know, but I can't forget." And then, he kissed her. No one called, "Cut." No one dared to breathe. The kiss was long, heavy, so real that time seemed to melt. There was no more camera, no more director, just two people who had lost each other, searching for a forgotten memory. When the director finally spoke, no one knew how long he had waited. "Cut." No one applauded. The crew fell silent. Caitriona stepped back, her heart pounding. Sam was still standing there, his blue eyes as calm as the sea, but hidden inside was a storm. He spoke softly, almost in a whisper. "You know, I don't intend to stop." She looked at him, trying to keep her voice calm. "But this is the last scene, Sam." "No," he replied, his voice low and choked. "Not with me." In that moment, she understood. Even though the movie was over, their story was not. Outside, the afternoon sunlight fell, shining through the golden glass, covering the two figures standing still in silence. An ending, or a new beginning, no one knows. But clearly, the truth has surpassed the script. The shoot ended, and the studio fell into a strange state, silent but filled with probing glances. Everyone could see that the kiss was different from the previous ones. There was something too real. Caitriona walked quickly into the dressing room, her heart still pounding. She tried to remove the prop necklace, her hands shaking slightly. There was a knock on the door. "Kate?" Sam's voice. Low, soft, as if afraid someone would hear. "You shouldn't have come in here," she replied, not turning around. "I know, but if I don't say something now, I might never have the chance again." She paused. In the mirror, Sam's eyes reflected, the same eyes of the man who had made her believe in everything beautiful, then shattered her with a single decision to remain silent. "Sam, don't start over," she said, her voice almost pleading. "I didn't mean to start over. It's just, that scene, it wasn't an act, Kate." She turned back. "I know." They stared at each other, the distance between them only a few feet, but it felt like an ocean. He moved closer, his voice dropping. "I tried to forget, but during that scene, every line, every breath you took, it was like it was pulling me back to everything we had." Caitriona held her breath. "I can't say those things when you're about to leave. So if I say them, will you stay?" She let out a small, bitter laugh. "I know it's impossible. We're not the same people we were that first year." Sam was silent. He just reached out, touched a lock of her hair, brushed it aside. It may not be the same, but the way I feel when I look at you, it's never change. Between them, the air seemed to freeze. She closed her eyes, letting his breath touch her skin. A brief moment that felt like an eternity. Then she pulled back. Sam, we have cameras everywhere. There are people outside the door. I don't want to. He interrupted. Then see you tonight. One last time. She was about to refuse, but the look in his eyes made the words catch in her throat. Okay, she said softly. One last time. Night fell over the city. Caitriona arrived at the hotel, the room the crew had rented for her before the flight. She thought she would change her mind, but she didn't. When the door opened, Sam was there, sitting on a chair, only the yellow light illuminating half of his face. I'm sorry, he said first. For all the times I was silent, for all the things I didn't have the courage to say before. She crossed her arms, looking at him. And what do you want now? I want you to hear me, not as a co-star, but as Sam, the one who has always. He paused. She interrupted. Always what, Sam? Always making you believe, then pulling away when you needed it most? He stepped back, his eyes burning with something between regret and longing. Because I thought you would be happier if I stayed away. But I was wrong. When I saw you in that scene today, I realized, I've never been away from you for even a second. She smiled slightly, but tears began to well up in her eyes. What are you saying all this for? You leave tomorrow, Sam. The project is over. We only have a few hours left. So I can have those hours, he said, his voice almost choking. So I can remember you properly. Not on screen, not in a script. For real. She fell silent. The room was filled with slow breathing, the ticking of a clock. Sam stepped forward, stopping in front of her. Just say no, and I'll leave. But she didn't say anything. Just touched his chest lightly, a small movement, but it shattered the space. He pulled her close, his arms tightening, their warmth merging. The second kiss of the day, no cameras, no roll. Just two people who once belonged to each other, once lost, and now searching for each other in silence. Afterwards, they sat by the window, the city lights reflecting off the glass. Neither of them said goodbye. Sam said softly, I know you're flying tomorrow morning. Caitriona just nodded. But I don't regret today. And me, she replied, I'm just afraid that what's real will make things harder. He chuckled softly. It's okay to be hard, as long as it's real. At that moment, they both looked out. Rain began to fall, each drop rolling down the glass, as if erasing the boundary between memory and the present. Caitriona turned to him, her eyes glistening with tears. We both know that scene didn't end when the director called, cut. Sam replied softly, a sad smile on her lips. I know, there are scenes, life can never be replayed. But if today is the last scene, I want it to be real. She fell silent, then rested her head on his shoulder. Outside, the rain was still falling, and inside the room, the two people who were once characters, now only had real breath left. Dawn quietly crept through the window. Caitriona woke up, only the familiar scent lingering on her pillow, and Sam had left. On the table, a small piece of paper. I don't want to make you feel awkward. But if this is the end, let it be a happy ending. She held the piece of paper tightly, her heart choking. Her phone vibrated, a series of messages, leaked photos of yesterday's kissing scene. The entire crew, social media, and reporters were mentioning their names. Caitriona looked out the window, where the rain had started to fall again. For the first time, she didn't know where the boundary between film and real life was. She only knew that her heart had never been so peaceful, and had never been so scared.